Hi, welcome to the School Live. I'm Chris Doan. I talk about the business of design. And who are you?
I am Jose Caballero, and I talk about the design of business.
And Jose, what's our mission? Why do we do the show?
Our mission is to help creative people, what the heck is it? Empower creatives to fulfill their dreams.
Right.
Empower you, the people that are watching, to fulfill their dreams live. You're making Christo very happy that there is 8 people watching live.
He
right?
said
Yes.
9.
We're getting up
Some,
We
there.
lost
some of
somebody.
them. Some of them
We
were
lost
from
somebody. And one of them
office,
is
but
ourselves,
okay.
by the way, so that's actually 7.
That's right. So it's really 4.
But it's okay. You can watch the recorded
Hi,
show
Mom.
on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to the channel below, and someday we're going to put some links in here to
So
subscribe.
here's how this is going to work. I believe if you comment on this live stream, we're going to try to respond to your questions. Is that how we're doing it?
Yes, it is. But
And
we
so
have to
the
introduce our
URL's
guest.
out. You can let me run the show? Let
You
me
run the show. Oh,
Don't-
hello,
don't
Mr. I
backseat
run the
drive this
show.
whole thing. Anyways, for the very first time, we have a very special guest ever on our show,
Yep.
Rocio.
Very happy to be the first guest on the
But
show.
pronounce her last
So,
name.
yes,
Rocio.
That's the first name.
Try the last name.
What is it again?
Villalobos.
Villalobos.
Villalobos or
Lobos?
as Lobos.
Okay.
Village of the Wolves, to be exact.
Wow.
Wow.
That would
Okay.
be
Village
the
of the
name.
Wolves. Like
Yes.
it.
But introduce yourself. Who are you? I mean,
So
what do you do?
I'm Rocio Villalobos, and I currently have a company called Vidro Media, but I am actually in transition. So I am shifting, and I'm wanting to grow and shift my business into Shift Co-Creative, which is my new agency. And I have a couple different angles on it. The main reason that it's going to be a conscious business, and I'm going to serve conscious brands and conscious companies.
Right. You guys just had a conference that you were a co-producer of
Yes.
called Together, and we started talking, and that's why we invited you to the show, right?
Yeah.
It was all about conscious business, but there was an emphasis. What was the emphasis on?
Well, the emphasis was both on collaboration and conscious businesses.
Okay.
And when
And I'm
you
making
guys-
money.
Well,
Of course.
money.
I'm making a living.
So the whole point is that your business shouldn't be profit above everything else.
Right.
You need to bring all the stakeholders and keeping them into consideration. But it's definitely strategy and it's definitely money. So that's how I know what you like.
Yeah, you're telling Christo
then-
something crazy.
And then
Profit? What? Not?
No, so
Does
it
not
is profit.
compute.
It's strategy
I am
and profit. And what you like about
Hold on,
it
let me
is
turn
that
it back
it's
on.
I'm back
Back
on.
up. All right.
And what
What I
Jose
like-
likes about it is that it's collaboration, it's getting together, it's being aware, it's really merging those two. So most people
Are
don't
my
think.
eyes rolling right now?
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
So most of people don't think, people's eyes glaze over like you when they hear conscious business.
Well,
But-
you were there, and you
I was
and
there.
you did the, and you were very popular. Everybody, by the way, at the Together conference was like, you know, it was. Oh, I want to talk to Chris, and I'm like sitting there in the car and going like.
Like one of my
Nobody
chopped
listens.
liver?
Crickets.
Right,
Well,
but the point is that they're looking for partners.
But you know why they want to talk to you?
No, I don't.
Because most of the people who were there, they're conscious people. They really want to have a business that means something to them and that helps in some way
Just
meet
say it.
them.
Just
but
say it.
they know that the business angle and the profit angle is super important.
What? Say it. Say
That's
it.
what you're all about.
It's perfect. So we're talking about today about money.
Money. Money.
You had a nice little tweet about this. It was like the funny business of talking about money or something.
People are funny about money.
There you go.
Well, what are your opinions and what are your feelings about money and challenges? You know, put them in the comments. We'll read it.
Right.
So
Right.
today we're going to talk about money and everything that Rocio wants to talk about regarding money. And we're going to look at it from a cultural perspective about a male-female thing. That's what it's all about. So put in your comments, guys.
From a lot of different perspectives.
Yes.
From a spiritual, from a gender. So,
Yeah.
Rocio, so the conference was a women's-only conference, and the context at the beginning of the conversation was, you know, is there a difference in how women perceive money and the whole? You have a point of view of how men approach things and how women approach things.
Yeah.
What? Tell me a little bit about that. Like,
Well-
what are those
What's
points
your
of view?
question?
What's the point of view that you feel
Okay.
women bring and
I
that
want
men
to
bring?
ask a question.
Clear.
I asked the
Bring
question.
it on it.
I asked the question.
All right.
It's asked. So really, it's not so much a matter of I'm a woman, this is how I think, you're a man, this is how you think. It's more of a female perspective and a male perspective. Because many artists, for example, they are more in touch like with the female side, right?
Right.
It's like the passion.
Are you saying that we're more feminine than
I'm not
than
saying
most?
anything.
Oh, sure. Okay. All right.
Well, it is, artists in general are more about heart, right? And if you think about, and it's funny because
That's what I'm told.
I think I heard you say something that you could have been an accountant as well,
Yes.
which I'm sure most people could see why. So you're a little bit of a conundrum as
I
well
am.
because you have the
You're an
heart
enigma.
of you have
Jack
the
of
heart
all.
of the artist, but then you're so analytical and you're so
Right.
focused.
Mhm.
So it's really just finding that balance between the two. And anybody who is more relates to like the female way of being, they want to be fair, they want to be empathetic, they're passionate, right?
And
some of
broke.
it,
They don't
somebody-
want.
well,
they don't want to
not
take
always,
money
but
away
that's-
from people.
But that's what we're trying to get out of, right? How can you still keep that, but find the balance and learn the skills you need to learn to be more like you,
Okay.
to start thinking more like
Uh-huh.
you.
Well, you until you asked it, I never even thought about that there was a female or a male perspective on money,
Oh yeah.
right? So money does lots of things. Money can lead you to make horrible decisions in life, but
Right.
I always saw money as a means to an end. And what I want to do is to get to a point in which I can spend all my leisure time and make the leisure time my professional time if I can.
Definitely.
I want to spend it
Right.
with my wife. I have 2 little boys. I want to spend it with them, and I
Yeah.
want to get there as fast as possible. So I'm motivated not by what the money is, but what it allows me to do.
Right. So maybe there's a couple of different perspectives there.
Yeah.
Because like with conscious business, it's also like kind of seeing the, the end goal, like just seeing a more broader view, right? How are we doing business that's going to actually change the way that businesses function? And there is a shift now in general,
Yeah.
pun intended.
Yeah.
But there is, right? There's a lot more entrepreneurs now, thanks to the
You're allowed
web.
to do that twice.
Thanks to okay, it's
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, it's done. We
It's
got it out of
done,
the way.
It's done.
Okay.
But that is a word that's being used a lot for a
It is.
reason. And so it's really seeing what you can start doing in your business so that long term it's going to make you happier, make you more money, and actually being able to be sustainable, right? So, and your mentality now is a little bit different because you have a goal that's like more immediate than long term.
Right.
But you still want to be happy. You still want to do work that you're proud
Yes.
of.
Yes.
And you still, you're a hard worker, so that's a given. But for your audience, I think maybe a lot of your audience they're designers, either freelancing or they're trying to build their business, they're trying to get to that next step.
Okay.
So let's focus on, what is important to them. So they can still keep the heart, but actually, how do they get the
Okay.
business side?
Well, why don't you lob a softball question that the 3 of us can talk about and debate, right?
Okay.
Can you throw something out?
Let's see. Let's talk about confidence.
Okay.
I just
No, we're gonna dovetail
saw-
this into money, right? Because
Well, yeah,
You'll-
because I
okay.
think confidence and money, there's a lot.
They go hand in hand.
Yeah.
There's
Okay.
a
They
really
go hand
big
in hand. Yeah.
Okay.
You have to have
And-
to use it. Go ahead.
And one thing in terms of confidence, I think is a huge point as well, is talking about again, gender roles or the ways of being. So not just women, not
Okay,
just men.
perfect.
Ways of being, and having to do with the male way of being, right, is very ego-driven,
okay.
right?
And competitive. Like Christo is
Ego,
very competitive.
You're the conquerors, right? Like in the caveman days, you're the ones who got out of the cave and in group, but you were quiet, you didn't talk, and you grabbed,
Right.
you attacked the animal and you brought it back.
Okay. So let's talk about confidence as it relates to money. We were just having this conversation in the car.
Yep.
Jose, why don't I tee you up for that first, and then let's
Well,
kind of talk about it.
We also talked about, we're talking about it from a cultural standpoint, from a gender standpoint, which is
Yeah.
attached to culture. But we talked about that early on in starting our agencies, that we didn't necessarily look at money as the goal, that we actually were kind of just doing what we were doing and weren't necessarily that tied to money. And the comment that I made to Chris is that long term, to build success and to build bigger companies, you have to disattach the value or the emotional aspect of money.
Yeah.
Emotions are really attached to money.
Right.
Like for example, I have a lot of things relative to money, relative to my parents, and how
Totally.
my dad dealt with money.
Cultural.
And woe is me, and
Wait, so let's talk
debt.
about that. Let's get into your personal stuff
Yeah.
here. I'm going to dive in there.
Okay.
You talked about your dad. I don't want you to just throw that out there and walk away. What did your upbringing, how did that shape your view of money?
Well, but it's remembering, the struggles and the challenges. I mean, being,
What does that mean?
lower middle class
Lower
Latin
middle
people.
class, Latin, okay.
And you moved here when you were what,
And you moved
13?
here when I was young, 11 or so,
11.
12, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know the story. And there's the struggles and financially, et cetera. So you see them struggling and how they deal with money, and that kind of makes an impact.
So what did money mean to you as a 12-year-old immigrant from a lower middle?
That it was scarce, that it was something that...
Scarce.
Or
Scarce.
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 Did I say scarce?
He said it in his Latin.
I said it in a Latin
Spanish.
accent.
Spanish
This is
accent.
the Puerto Rican accent.
Scarce.
It was scarce.
You're bringing it out of
It was
us.
very scarce. Well,
Or
we're
is
having
that
more
Irish?
Latin people. Wait, you're half Latin. There you go.
I'm a...
Yeah, more
Okay,
Latin people
let's
than
go.
Asian people.
Come on,
This
come
is
on, come
good.
on.
This is
Scarce.
good progress. It was
So
scarce,
scarce.
and that it was, and it that the bills and living and all those things were just a pain in the ass and hard. And all of that
So
stuff.
money was like
Yeah.
something that other people had that
Right.
you wanted to get.
Right. There's this desire. Yeah, that's actually a
Right.
good point.
And it was a challenging thing. It wasn't like,
Yeah.
oh, so easy, you got it figured out. Like, you know, your dad had to really
Right.
hone in on
Yeah.
making it happen.
Also, there's a point of view of being an employee versus being an entrepreneur, which is a
Oh,
totally
yeah.
different thing.
We'll jump into that just briefly.
Yeah. So you know, on the spiritual level, I mean, recently I was working on a lot of this as, you know, your journey progresses and doing a clearing, which you called something else. He doesn't like it. The camera, I wish the camera caught his expression. I was like, of that, and talking to your 13-year-old self and saying, you know, it's
Yeah.
okay, that and telling the perceptions or trying to reprogram yourself
Yeah.
in retrospect
Right.
about what your perceptions are about money. And Chris, you call it something else.
Talking to your inner child.
Right.
Resolving
So
that
the
conflict.
Western way of doing it with a therapist is talking to your inner child versus
What-
a clearing. What's the difference?
Whatever, it's all the
thing.
same.
It's the same thing.
Okay, so money was
regression.
scarce,
Scared.
right?
Like-
And I even caught that. Look at that.
That's
I'm
good.
like
That's
robotic.
good catch.
Yeah. So money was scarce, and you saw it as a way out of the lower middle class. And you have a different perspective on money. Like you had maybe more of an employee mentality versus an employer mentality.
Right.
We talked about this before.
Yeah.
Don't work for the man, be the man.
Be the man.
Right.
And
Or
to be the man,
woman.
here's the
Be the
irony.
man.
Right.
The woman, the irony is that what I've learned over time is that you have to be completely disattached from emotion relative to money in order to be able to wield it. Because Chris says
Yeah.
it's just a resource. It's
It
just like
is.
anything else. You know, you're not taking it away from anybody.
Yeah, I think there's a special emotional assignment that people put on money that then makes it hard for us to talk about it.
Right.
The funny
Yeah.
conversation about our funny relationship with money, right?
Or you don't talk about it much.
Right.
So then you're kind of
Okay.
having a one-sided conversation, and it's
All
not
right.
really getting you anywhere.
Just so in my logical mind, we started over there. Let's go to you. Let's talk about your relationship with money, and
Sure.
maybe talk a little bit about your background with money and what that means.
Well, ironically, I'm very similar to Jose, because I actually grew up in Latin America. My dad was Peruvian, and my mom is American. But I also lost my father actually when I was really young. I was 5. And my mom, thankfully, she was always a teacher, but she, you know, was left with 4 kids when she was like probably 35.
I had the same
So-
thing. My mom died,
Yeah.
and my dad was on his own.
And so the
But it's
same
different.
thing.
No, it's different because she has a very positive role model now as the woman
In the
being
mom.
Yeah.
the breadwinner,
Very
the provider. So
And-
she's playing both male and female energy for you, right?
And I feel so fortunate because my mom, she's an amazing woman, and she was always just great with kids, and you know, she did amazing with us. But at the same time, like, I learned things from her, right? Other things that I would have learned from my dad, who he actually was an entrepreneur as well, and he was an engineer, you know, that I didn't. So it's like then you realize, okay, well, what did I not learn that I actually need to focus on?
Okay, can you get into some specifics? Give us some examples.
Sure. Well, I think, you know, just business in general, and the perspective on money, the perspective on profit, and kind
So-
of those more, you know, stand up for yourself and be confident.
So what was the view about money in the household as a 5, 7-year-old or
Right.
10-year-old kid?
Yeah.
What was he shared a very clear point of view about money and potentially like what he had to do to overcome
I
that.
would say it was probably a little bit similar. My mom, I wouldn't say we were, you know, completely struggling all the time, but it was always you're conscious of it. But it wasn't like, you know, we didn't have the conversations about money. And actually, I want to turn it to you a little bit, and you can ask me more or,
Okay.
or not.
Sure, sure.
But because I'm curious, like with you, you know, was that a topic of conversation from the time you were
Yeah,
little?
let's decipher Mr. Doe.
No, but we're like in that immigrant mentality. We're refugees,
Yeah.
and we basically everything we had, everything we knew, our country, our language, our culture was gone like in a night.
Wow.
So we escaped the country and we came to
Right.
America, and so there was a lot for us to figure out. And like many people in kind of the Asian community, it was always focused on education. Education is your
Yeah.
ticket out of here.
Right.
It wasn't about money per se, but the
Okay.
education was going to empower you.
Yeah.
It's like something that you would get that nobody could ever take away.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was about empowerment. And my dad instilled this thing in me from very young, which was work hard now, work a lot less later. Compress it when you're young,
Right.
and then you can enjoy the rest of it versus pacing it all out.
Yeah.
So I do things with a level of intensity, and
Yeah.
Jose calls it competitiveness. I just think about the singular focus. I want to get stuff done.
Right.
So we never talked about money. And I saw very quickly my dad's first job, and we talked about this in a family gathering. I said, "Oh, Dad, you worked at a restaurant. You're a waiter?" He's like, No. I was the busboy because I couldn't speak English, so all I could do was clear the tables.
I was a busboy.
And within 20 years, he went from being a busboy to the chief engineer at a semiconductor, computer company.
Wow.
So he went like that.
Yeah.
And I saw that if you worked hard, which he did,
Yeah.
he basically went to work at 5 in the morning
Right.
and came home, never took a vacation day, never took a sick day. He was all about the work. And they had to send him to programming, and I could see that. So I didn't see a lot of my dad.
Yeah.
So when it was dark, he came home, we ate dinner together, and
Yeah.
I saw him on the weekends.
Right.
And that was it. So that was my kind of upbringing about that.
I think ultimately the main thing is to have that North Star, right? Like he kind of instilled in you, it's like, look, this is what you should do so that when you are older and you have your kids, then you can actually spend more
Right.
time with
Like
them.
I'm sacrificing this so
Yeah,
that you
you're
can
aware
achieve
of
I mean,
what you want.
to be fair, I mean, and also to be fair to my dad, he was definitely bringing up 3 kids, and it was
yeah,
as a
so
single parent.
Yeah.
And then he got remarried and et cetera. But
Focus?
no, what I was going to say is that the modeling is really relevant, and I have had better or not better. I've had models about money afterwards. As
Right.
an adult, you
Uh-huh.
always have people around you.
But
You always do.
the fact of the matter is we are here where we are through the journey that we took.
Yeah.
But
And
here-
we have to be grateful for
Here's
that.
what I was gonna say is that the other aspect of it is like the strengths. Like my obnoxiousness and ability to do this kind of stuff comes from him because he's super
course.
obnoxious and he was a pastor.
Yeah.
Which ultimately, at the end of the day, to build something big, it requires influence and it requires that. And Oprah was one of my biggest examples on money. She wrote a beautiful you just cry piece.
I thought you were talking about a bearded piece.
No, just
Okay,
this
tears.
is cheers. Okay,
Okay.
single hands.
I got it.
Tears about her relationship with money. That she never set out to be a billionaire. That she never set out to do what she did. She set out to help a lot of people. So if you provide
Conscious
value,
Oprah.
yes, if you provide value, and I'm going to call you out on this. People like you, and I'm pointing across that, and I have. By the way, most of my friends are like that and Asian, which is weird. Why do I have so many Asian
Keep going.
friends?
Focus.
The motivation of it being quantitative is counter to the ability to create larger influence because you're worried you're counting versus like giving value without getting anything in return, which is a huge part of consulting and it's a huge part of what we do.
Okay.
Well, and
Does that make
it's a huge
sense?
part of what
Yes.
you're doing now.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
giving back
I
so
am
much
giving back.
now, and I see
I
you.
love that.
I see you shifting a little bit, and I know I use that word, but it's
He has
it's
some help.
unrelated.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unrelated.
Well, you talked about confidence and relationship with money. Okay,
Yeah.
so I want to talk about that, and then
Okay.
whatever else we want to talk about. My issue with money isn't so much that I want to have it, right? So it was a means to end, like I've said.
Right.
Right. And so when I started out and I was freelancing, my whole thing, and people would ask me, "What's your day rate?" I would just say, "You can pay me whatever it is you think is fair." And so they would put it out, and I went from job to job, and the money part I was never concerned about it, because internally I knew that once I got in and I saw the lay of the land, I'm going to
Yeah.
prove myself. I'm going to work harder, smarter, and better than everybody else.
Right.
That the conversation of money would just come up naturally, and it always did.
Yeah.
The more I ran away from money, the
Uh-huh.
more money came after me. Kind of like Oprah. I mean, hers
Yeah.
ran after.
Oh, now you're
like,
comparing yourself to Oprah.
Well, you
Ladies
brought
and
it up.
gentlemen,
You brought it up.
Chris Doe compared himself to Oprah
because my first
on
boss,
the show.
Hey, can
Just
I-
note it.
You notice how he's
Leave
got
your
like 35
comments
minutes
below.
of airtime? I like get
I'm
at
Oprah.
At 30 seconds.
Hi,
in this
I'm
guy,
Oprah.
I can't even
So
get
this
in.
is him throwing you under the bus.
No,
I'm
it's
not throwing
not.
under the
He's
bus,
trying
dude.
to.
I'm
He's
making
just
fun
trying to
of
hog all the airtime. That's okay.
No, I'm good. I haven't
Like,
said anything.
the oxygen is.
I have one card. The school live or school live.
Can I finish my story? Or
You got
what?
5.
Yes.
All right, go
So-
ahead.
Oprah.
No, not Oprah. My first
Go
job.
ahead, Oprah.
My first job offer, I was, I said I don't want to do this job. It's not right for me. And then
Yeah.
my boss said, "I'll double your salary. What do you want? You want to work 3 days a week? What do you want?" And none of it
Wow.
was about money.
Yeah.
So I took my second job, which was like less than the first job in the first offer. So I basically took a 70% pay cut just to
Right.
pursue this other thing.
Yeah.
So once I got in there, I demonstrated value. I really understood that when from here on out, when we talk about money, it's a reflection of how I feel about myself.
It
It
definitely
really is, okay?
Yeah.
So I feel really confident about myself and the things I provide. So I don't want to undervalue myself.
Right.
That's the way it is. So when somebody asks me to bid on a project, I would say, in my mind, what's the maximum I can ask for that this person won't laugh at me for?
Yeah.
And I'm just going to ask for it because it's based on the value that I think I provide.
Right.
And if you ask my wife, she knows I have a pretty big ego about this kind of stuff. You're talking about the male energy. I
Yeah.
believe I'm
Yeah.
worth
Yeah.
way more than you could pay me, to be honest.
Yeah.
So ego is a big thing. It's
Ego's
a big driver.
thing, and that's a good
so
segue.
the male, female.
Women
right?
always undersell. No, women always
Okay.
undersell themselves. My experience has been that sometimes I've had to negotiate for them and negotiating with me.
Right. Well, so it's the whole conversation.
You're a bad
of,
negotiator.
It's a,
No shit, I'm a bad negotiator. Hold on, you need to charge me a little bit more, okay?
Yeah.
It's the whole thing again of the male perspective, the female perspective. Again, not
Let's talk about it.
necessarily male or woman or man, but
Sure.
way of being.
The energy.
Energy.
So, what's the female energy about money? Like, why
Well,
don't you think
the,
you're worth
well, the
what-
female in terms of confidence, some of the challenges that female way of being has is exactly that, like the ego, the confidence, or the value, like valuing themselves. Because women, or the female way, is more, we're such perfectionists, right? We want to make sure everything is done right, and
I am
it's
too.
and it's kind of like it's like you're not good enough, so you don't put that value.
You're never going to be good enough, so you shouldn't charge as much, or you shouldn't
Do you
ask
feel
for
guilty
that
There's
much.
about it?
just some.
There is the
yeah,
guilt that
there's,
you're
there's
taking
a,
the money
there's
away.
a guilt thing.
Should you guys stand a little closer together? Because you're like one voice now.
No, but it's interesting because
Here, we're
and
not,
the-
we're Siamese twins.
Usually when I say that, she moves towards you, you're like not breaking her.
well,
I
and then
get
the
the
male
point.
way of being is,
Right.
is all about ego. So I have a perfect example, or I
Okay.
have a funny
Throw it out.
funny little
Okay.
example. So I saw this cartoon, right? And so there's a mirror, and there's a man standing in the mirror, and he's like, got little belly, and he's like, not the most attractive man,
Right.
but he's looking himself in the mirror,
Then he sees
and
like,
he sees like
male
six
model,
pack,
Adonis.
like Adonis,
Right.
and then you cut to the woman who's
Right.
like, banging. She's at 10 in a bikini. She's looking in the mirror, and she sees like this frumpy, like,
right.
so it's a little bit of perceptions of yourself, and so many times, like you think somebody sees you, or women will think they'll be seen in a certain light, and they're not. Like it's what they think the perception is a lot worse. Like people see them in a totally different view.
That's a really good point.
But you know what?
A good story.
So
That's
here's
exactly
the thing.
right.
I say this to my wife all the time. I said, you know what?
You're hot.
Yes. I said, you have to love yourself the most.
Definitely.
More than any of us in the world, because I can't love you if you don't love yourself, because
Yeah.
first of all, that's not attractive.
Right.
And she was struggling with that concept for a really long time
Yeah.
because she wanted me to be her number one fan.
Yeah.
But the argument there is if you allow somebody else to control your own happiness, well, you're going to ride that with them. And you're
Yeah.
putting too much on the other person.
External orientation.
It's just too much,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and again, so that's kind of like the struggles that I'm saying, and the answer to that is to actually do some sort of self-development, or really hone in on what makes you you, like what are your good talents, and believe that you have that value based on those, and then as well as working on the things that maybe you're struggling with, because then you'll get the confidence because you're learning, you're overcoming it, and that's when you really start.
Let
So
me just
personal
throw this out.
development, to recap. Here's what I've heard so far. from
You're going
that.
to recap?
I'm going to be Krista.
Oh my gosh.
Demonstrate value, work on yourself, personal development, and banging. First time the word has ever been used on
Excuse me?
there.
You said it.
No, wait, you said it.
You
said
said
it.
He's just quoting you, so he gets permission.
That's the
Great.
first time we said
That's
that word on
that's
Like
the way
she's
it
banging.
is around it.
She's banging.
Yeah, I just. Yeah,
First time
thanks
it's
for
been
that.
used on the
Dios
show.
mío.
I moved
Dios
beyond that.
mío.
but
Ay,
okay,
Dios
look.
mío.
Look,
That's
we're,
gonna be
we're
the
almost
new-
out of time
almost
here,
out of
but
time.
I want to
So-
talk about this. So,
Yeah.
in our confidence episode, we talked about finding the thing that you're really good at and
Yeah.
using that as your foundation, build a house on top of that. It doesn't matter what it is, just build on that and believe it.
Exactly.
Look in the mirror and say, you are the best person at doing that thing.
Yeah.
You're
And just
good enough,
use it.
and
Okay.
doggone it, people love you.
But having
like
said
you.
that, because I had that belief in myself for some time, talking about money was still difficult.
Yeah.
It is difficult.
Is that a
because-
social thing? You're not supposed to talk about.
Yeah,
revenue.
yeah. Except for in some cultures, it's okay to talk about money.
Yeah, I've
Some
seen
cultures
that.
It's all about
And
money.
it's awesome.
I've seen
and it's
that.
awesome because they have a very rational, logical relationship with money. It's just like everything else, like Jose had said, is a resource.
Right.
That's all it is. So,
But so
Yeah.
what I want to encourage and challenge our audience and challenge people, if you're among designers, and again, in a closed setting, you don't want to be talking about how much money you've made or not made in a public setting, but it should be okay
It should be a
within this context
collaborative
to really talk about revenue.
conversation.
And I talk about revenue in the past, relative to ventures. I don't talk about revenue now, but we do talk about numbers and we talk about it. And if
Yeah.
we had a conversation about the school, we could talk about revenue, we could talk about all these different things.
And mentors, because you said something in the confidence episode as well about get a mentor, get somebody that you respect or you value, whether it's a mentor, whether it's a coach.
Right, and you have
But
one?
And I have a business coach as well,
Right.
and it's, you know, I wish I would have done it 10 years ago.
Right.
And it's one of those things, like, you really start honing in on, okay, what is actually going to get me to that North Star? What do I want?
Right.
And how am I actually going to get there?
Okay.
As much as we like to believe that we're completely self-sufficient, we're much more powerful
With
together.
other people, but you're talking about goals. When you say North Star, it's like, what is the goal, or what is the thing that keeps me true?
What do you want to achieve?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a big one. People don't set financial goals.
Well, let's do this. With the few remaining minutes that we may or may not have here, let's do a little creative role play.
Okay.
We've always talked about this. Let's try it out. You guys can be the artist, creative, feminine persona, and
Okay.
let's create a situation where we need to talk about money, and I'll be the other person, or I can pretend to be you, or whatever. It
Whatever.
is.
Yeah.
let's-
You're
give me
the guy who
10
talks
minutes
about
out.
money. Okay.
Rocio,
Well,
since you're our guest, you get to pick the setup.
Okay. Well, I would like you to be
What am I?
You're the you're the
This is like, whose line is it
you're
anyways?
you're the not Chris. So you're
I'm
the
the
opposite.
anti-Chris.
You're the anti.
Wait. The Antichrist? That's a new hashtag. The Antichrist.
Hashtag anti-Chris.
Antichrist. Wait, are you saying that he's not money grubbing like Asian
Let's just
guy?
say that you're for couple
Second.
minutes.
All right, I can do
You're
it.
not Chris.
You're the artist?
You're the artist.
Oh,
artist, okay.
dang. Okay.
Okay.
Let me get him play the
and then
opposite.
I'll be the artist, and then who are you?
I am.
And what are we talking about?
Wow.
So you have to give me a whole setup. Jose
Right.
only gives me half a setup.
So I am.
Leaves me hanging.
Maybe I am Chris.
Okay.
All right.
This is super crazy. Oh my God.
right.
I'm going to be the anti-Chris, and I'm going to talk to the Chris. Okay. And what are we talking about?
What's the topic?
He's telling the topic.
What's the topic?
Okay,
Right.
the topic is you're negotiating a project, and it's a project that I know the budget. I'll say what the budget is. The budget's actually $75,000. You're gonna negotiate
Perfect.
without. You don't know the budget.
Right.
You know the budget.
Okay.
Right.
He
Perfect.
doesn't. You need to tell
Okay.
her
So you're the
a
hard
number.
ass client
Right.
that you have a budget in mind, and I'm going to be the artist. If I play the artist, this is going to go poorly because we'll get nowhere.
Okay.
No, play the artist
Should I-
first.
how
Do
do
how
I
you
play
would
the
negotiate.
artist?
Here, I'll play the
The
artist
whole
first.
thing? Yes.
Then you play
Perfect.
Christo.
Yes.
I just screwed
Yes.
it up.
Okay,
You're
we're
the
going
client.
back
Oh, we're
around.
going back to
okay.
It's
He
just who
cannot
we
not
are.
be himself.
I can be not myself,
He
but
can't be
I
the
can.
anti-Chris.
Yeah, he can't be. I'll be anti-Chris. I'll be anti-Chris. I am the anti-Chris. Oh, I am the anti-Chris. That is going to be my T-shirt.
So,
I am the
love that.
anti-Chris.
I love
So,
that.
so hi. Thank you so much for letting us be here. I'm not even gonna ask for a budget. I don't even know. I'm gonna. Well, this is a great project, and for our little firm, we're really excited, to be able to do it. We've been struggling, so we'll charge you $25,000.
Okay, that's just simply not going to work. So.
Why not? Is that
Because
too much?
We just don't really feel like maybe you're not at the level of the firm that we need.
Dang, you're giving me.
Stay in the role. Stay in the role.
Okay.
Cameras are rolling.
Okay. All right.
Don't break.
That the deal's done right there.
No, you just killed it.
I just killed it.
No,
I
you-
can't.
no,
I
you-
can't
you-
recover from that
You
one.
can recover from it.
How?
How?
Okay, so how?
Bravo.
What's your budget? We'll really do it. We're gonna really do it.
All
But
right.
you probably wouldn't say that in real life. You would say, "Okay, thank you," and you would let the person leave, and you would never award it to them.
No. Okay.
She told me the
Should I
truth.
play all three roles? No.
Okay, play all three roles.
Let me be the business person again, and
Okay.
I'll do it again with Jose. Okay,
Okay.
Jose, you're still Jose. Don't be such a groveling artist, all right?
Okay.
All right.
So.
So Jose, we think this is a really great opportunity for you. We've seen some of the work, and you've seen the project specs. What do you think this is going to cost us?
We did some numbers. It's gonna cost $30,000.
$30,000. And how did you come up with that number?
Time
Materials.
Yeah.
And you feel like you have a full grasp of what's going on. Can you deliver?
Can we deliver it on that budget?
Yeah.
I think we can.
All
I
right.
think we can. We've done it in the past.
Okay. Do you have any examples of you doing that in the past? Because
Yeah,
this is a
we
very
can show you some
specific
case studies.
industry.
I mean, we showed you some case studies already.
They weren't exactly on.
Okay, you want more specific case studies? Yeah, we'll put something together for you and we'll send it to
Okay.
you.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
All right.
Okay. That's usually how it would go.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's how it would go. And we
You
would never get the
suck.
job and
Yeah.
it
And
wouldn't
we
be
just,
awarded.
And
Uh,
well,
so now let's
that's a
flip
whole
it.
other topic.
But 30 is not that far off a number. 15
No.
would have been a
Hold
bigger
on.
number.
Hold on.
Better
It's
number.
okay.
to-
The budget was 75.
Right.
Okay. Let's do it again.
At
So
15
am I
or at-
anti-Jose?
What's that mean?
Am anti-hose?
Anti-hose.
Well, you're the anti-Chris.
Anti-Chris, pro-hose.
Pro-hose. That's almost a jar offense, but okay. Pro hose. I got it.
No, I didn't say
acting
pro
pro
hose. I said pro Jose, not hose.
Hose.
A
You said
professional
pro
hose. Who's
Well, why
professional
don't we
hose?
do it to
Let's do it.
where
Come on. Let's
All right, let's
come
do it.
on,
So
let's
where
focus.
you're actually
The
negotiating.
artist. Yeah, I'm gonna be the negotiator. So should I negotiate with you, tough cookie?
Go for it. You
No,
guys
no,
do it.
negotiate
No,
with him.
I'll negotiate. You need a roll
You
again.
negotiate.
All right. So set me up. Give me the pre-roll and then let's do it.
Okay, so we are looking for a creative firm
Great.
to build just a large website.
Great.
But the scope is a little bit. We're not really sure yet.
Okay.
How large it's going to be.
All right.
We need to know what technologies.
Perfect.
We need advice.
Right.
But it's going to be, an e-commerce store. We do
Okay.
know that it's going to be.
I'm gonna pretend I'm writing all this down. That's what I would
We
do.
know that it's going to be about 200 different products.
Right. Okay. So, do you guys have a budget in mind? Because
Well,
I don't really want to
we
waste
really
your time.
don't have a budget. We're really kind of seeing what you can offer.
Okay, perfect.
They're
I've
fishing
done,
for the budget from
I've
other
done
firms.
projects like this in the past, and they're going to range anywhere between $50,000 to $150,000. So before we go away and build you a whole estimate, I need to take your temperature on the price. Like, are you falling out of
Right.
your chair? Where are we in the budget?
My chair just actually walked away.
And
Chair
it's
walked
on.
away.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
where are we at? And so what's the ceiling to your comfort level?
So the ceiling would probably be closer to the lower end.
The lower end, so like
So-
85?
No, more like 65.
65, okay. All right, let me
And
process.
we want branding as well.
Oh, okay. You want branding as well?
Yes.
I like the fact she's like enjoying it, and you know what? And there's clients that do that.
Yeah,
they
my
enjoy
clients
like
generally don't
screwing
do that, but
clients.
that's okay.
That's
Okay, so
screwing
you want
and
brand,
design.
so that's a little bit outside of the scope, and so
Right.
why don't we just focus on the one project? I
Okay.
like to get something going, build relationship, and I'm very confident that you're going to see the value that we provide.
Okay.
And we really focus on strategy versus just design. So
But we just want a website.
that's what everybody says.
Right.
So you're looking for reskin on the site? Is that what you're looking for?
We need a new site because we need it responsive,
Okay.
and we need to adapt.
Somebody's been
to-
reading on the Web 2.0. Okay. Responsive.
And really has no idea what they're saying.
Right. Okay,
Yeah.
what else?
And we're looking to rebrand
Okay,
in the
perfect.
responsive site.
All right. So here's my advice. If you're looking for a quick reskin of the site, which is what you're saying, there's themes that you can buy for like $20. I don't think I'll serve you well by doing that.
Right.
Where I really think we provide value, and where ultimately this is going to come back, because you'll build that site and it won't work for you, and then you build it again, and so time is money. I'm going to assume that the site has to go up at a certain date, and it's going to affect your marketing, sales, and potentially the revenue you make for the year.
Yeah.
So what I like to do is to save you that headache of doing it again and again and not getting to where you want to be. We take a step back, and it doesn't take a lot of time. I need maybe 7-8 hours of your time.
Okay.
And we do that. It's part of the discovery phase, and that's why I charge what I charge.
So then we still need to figure out.
You'll charge
what
separate for the discovery phase,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Right.
How much
That's
is
right.
that?
Well, it'll be the 65 that you said you can spend plus 20.
20 for the discovery.
Yeah.
Okay. So
And you know what? Here's the deal. I don't like to play the financial games. Really, you go back, talk to your people. If you feel
Yeah.
good about this, let's figure out a number that works for you, because I'm interested in building this with you.
Right.
Is that okay?
That sounds good.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Damn,
very
that was
much.
masterful, ladies and gentlemen. Hand of applause for
And
this
scene.
negotiating a deal.
All right.
And
Okay.
scene. So let's do some takeaway thoughts. because
Takeaway.
We're done. The
We're
time's
done.
over.
We're done. Time's up.
I mean, you start. What is a good takeaway?
Don't.
What-
I just finished, so I can't do a takeaway.
What would you
on
tell
this.
the women that are watching this from the Together conference that we hung out
Well,
last
the
week?
women or the viewers that are out there, the designers who are really, wanting to learn from you guys, from me, from us. I think it's a matter of really just being aware of what your strengths are, like we talked about, and then what things you need to work on or talk about more, and whether it's you actually just have a more open conversation within your colleagues, right? Or find a mentor or a coach, somebody that actually, some way to actually get out of your own way.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing, we're in our own
We're
way
in our
so
own way. Yeah.
so much of the time,
Yeah.
right? So,
Get out of your own way.
Get
Get
out of
somebody
your
that
own
you can
way.
talk to with money about. And Chris, you need to have a good one.
I'm ready.
Okay, you
Go
ready?
ahead, Jose. You go first.
No, I'm going last.
Really?
I talked least. I'll go last.
All right, great. That's the first. We should have a guest more often. So here's my takeaway from this: is if you walk away with anything, if you're pursuing your passion, there's a cause, there's a thing that you really believe in. If if you don't make money, it's not going to be sustainable, and that's my
Right.
concern, right?
Yeah.
So don't use money to validate who you are and your value. Use money to validate your idea if it's a marketable concept.
Mhm.
And so that's where I say focus on the money, because
Yeah.
otherwise it's a hobby, and I don't like hobbies that sound like
Right.
a business. That's
Yeah.
it. That's my takeaway.
All right, so I'm going to take it totally differently. First of all, money doesn't actually exist. It's actually paper. I mean, this is look.
Hey,
this is
that's illegal. The fire. Hey, when
It's
the fire alarm goes
completely
off,
paper.
blow it off, dude.
Okay,
All
so
right.
here's the point about that, and it's gonna like
Yeah.
get us all wet.
Don't do that.
Here's the point. Here's the point. Value, exchanging value. You can actually be and exist and eat and do things. He's really upset about that. Without money. Does that make sense?
You could have just tore it in half.
That is true.
Okay, but go on.
But the point is this. The point is that focus on delivering value, and money comes. Like the Oprah point. You know, Christo's
I
Oprah.
know
No,
Focus on
don't end it
delivering
on that, because
value.
we're gonna fight
Yes,
about it.
no, and
No,
deliver
I deliver
value.
How do you know
Deliver
you've delivered value? How do
Here-
you know you've delivered value?
Because people are willing to pay you.
Yes,
Then you need to
how
start
much?
testing it.
Right.
You test it and you
I think
you
it's
ask
really-
for
I think
it.
it's really,
You got to ask for it. But the point is, don't go in for the money. Does that make sense?
I think it's
You don't
strategy.
sell on
Part
price.
two. Stay tuned.
Part two.
We
Stay
can't
tuned.
end on
I
this.
think
We're
it's
gonna fight.
strategy, confidence, and value. But it's focus.
Value is in your mind.
But there's a
That's
strategy-
what I just said. Get the money. It validates if your idea has value. That's
Right.
it. All right, we got to wrap up, guys.
We gotta wrap up.
Thanks so much for joining us, Jose. What did they just watch?
So you just watched the topic of money. Leave us comments below. Who do you agree with? Who do you disagree with? Make sure that you subscribe to the channel and let us know what topics you want to talk about. Next week, we're going to talk about estimation, which might be a good episode to have you help about. And we're going to continue. Thank you, Rocio, for
And
being
thank
here.
you guys for having me.
It's awesome to have you.
Really fun.
Rocio, how do people get in touch with you? What's your Twitter handle?
My Twitter is Rocio Tweets, and that's ROCIO Tweets. And go to letsshift.com. And
That almost sounds
With
like
a
something
Y.
else.
Huh?
Shift.
Shift.
Yeah, SHYFT.
.com.
Don't make fun
Okay.
of her
No,
new
no, it's all
business.
good. It's all good. Let's shift.com. And you know, I'm doing this because I changed my Twitter handle recently.
Why we're all on the
I
late
am
Twitter.
glad
The
you
Chris
did.
Doe.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
That's
the
much
Cristo.
better.
That's a much better Twitter handle.
Thank you very much.
Good job. Good
Thank
job.
you. It's
And I'm
easier to
at
type.
Jose
Not
Caballero.
the
Super
Antichrist.
easy. Oh, the Antichrist. I'm gonna get. Let me do it right now. I'm gonna get the Twitter of the Antichrist.
All
All right.
right,
Thank you
guys.
guys. We'll see you
Thank
next
you.
week.
Thank you.